So now it's time to place on the flywheel and the pressure plate for the clutch and the whole clutch really. So the first thing I want to do is come in with a toothbrush and just make sure there's no debris or any crap in there, like so, because that's going to make putting the bolts in really hard and will damage the threads as it goes in. So just come in there, make sure the whole thing is clean and it's got nothing in there. Ready? Yeah. Because these are the parts I'm going to be fitting to the engine. We have the lightweight flywheel. There's two different flywheels you can get. You can get the lightweight and the ultralight, but I want to have the lightweight flywheel because it gives a bit more inertia, so for driving in town it's a bit easier to drive a car like that. Then I have the clutch. So this is the 1.5 clutch, so that's half between stage 1 and stage 2. Part numbers are for the flywheel 2-694ST, and it's a competition clutch flywheel. And the clutch is a competition clutch, and here's the part number. This comes with everything. Comes with a friction plate, pressure plate, and also the release bearing here, and this is the bearing that goes, the support bearing, and also the tool which enables you to properly centre the clutch. Then I have the ARP fasteners. So here I have, these are for the flywheel bolts, and then I have these for the clutch plate, and I'm going to use a dab of a Loctite on each of the clutch bolts, and then I'm going to use the assembly lubricant for these flywheel bolts. First thing I'm going to do is put this flywheel on its back, and then I can just tap in the bearing that comes in the clutch kit into the back with a rubber hammer until it's home, and then I can start the fitment process. On the shoulders of these bolts I've put the assembly lube, and on the threads themselves I've put the Loctite, which is Loctite, what is it? 243. Okay, so then we have just a position in here. That's how it is. And then we can just wind each of these bolts in. Just do a 19mm double hex. Just wind the first one in. Should want to let go of it, and then just grab the others and do the same with them. 8 bolts in total. The method of doing this up, which I found the best, is obviously you get your flywheel nut socket, which is 19mm on a double hex, and it's 128.8mm on the socket wrench, and then we have on the torque wrench, and then we have a breaker bar and 19mm to stop the crank moving, and you just get your friend over there to hold that, which you can do, and then if you just put your foot on that, you put your foot on, yeah, and then you come around here, just so you can put your right foot on that, so your left foot on that, and then just show here, and then you work in this pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's all torqued up. So now we're going to put the clutch on. We have the clutch alignment tool, which is nice, for the Acura or Honda, which depending on how you want to look at it. So all you need to do is place the alignment tool in there. One thing, quick point here, if you look down here, see how the bearing's actually behind this flywheel, and you can still move it. That's nice, because this this tool here replicates what the input shaft is going to look like. So you see this will line up to in there. Okay, and then you can just spin this round to the point where it fits, which is there. Just check it's on. Needs to be on the whole way around, obviously. So usually one way round it fits. So it doesn't fit that way, so then you go round again. Not that one. Bad luck, it's the last one. There we go, it's in there like that. And that's nice. It's always like that. You always find with these clutches that two of them don't work and then one of them does. But either way, we're on. Let's pad it on. Okay, and then we can get the actual ARP bolts. Crikey. And then what you'll notice here, I'll just give this a quick wipe down, is they come with a washer and it's a, did you say 10mm bolt? Yeah, a 10mm bolt. So what we're going to do is just make sure they're clean and it's got nothing on them. I'm going to again use the Loctite because I don't want this whole show coming off. Check the clutch is centered, which it is. Otherwise you can use a socket inside, but this is better because this really locates against the splines. And then we can just get a little bit of our Loctite again, Loctite 243. Wash a little bit on there. And then just wind it in. I'm going to have to wind in all of these bolts and just do them evenly as you torque the whole process down. One point it might be worth mentioning is that you have a little shoulder on there, and that's how I'm putting it in. And then so the shoulder's outside. Put a little dab of that on, and then place it in as so. You see all the 9 flywheel bolts are in there now. What you need to do is evenly tighten them up, and then what this does is it puts it over this dowel, so just be even with how you torque them up, and then the whole thing will come together nicely. If you over torque one side, it will go on skew, so you don't want to do that. Just tighten them up nice and easy and evenly. So I'm always working my way around all of the time. Up the clutch bolts again, I've got the 19mm being steadied there to stop the crank turning over, and I'm just going to do it by hand and then work one in every 3 around as I go. Then move to this one, and then this one, and so on until all of them are tight. I'm not sure of the torque specification, I'll have to find that out, but it doesn't need to be crazily tight, they're only small bolts. And remove the centering tool out and you're ready to put the gearbox on, which we'll do next. So to place in the clutch release bearing, all you need to do is put it on so, get 2 fingers behind the fork, the release fork here, pull it right out, then slide it over. And then what you want to do is just check that it's on there, seated properly, and then in the back position. Okay, so that's on there, it's not coming off. Then we can actually pop this whole show in there, just check no debris. Good point now just to make sure there's nothing in here. You're never going to get it spotless, but you just want to make sure there's nothing obvious in here. I've already had a go at cleaning this out, so it shouldn't be that bad. Okay, it'll mainly be in the bottom, just old clutch dust, but it's going to get full of clutch dust anyway, so by the by. And then just place it in. So it just goes in there, like so. It's just working its way into the dowels now. So what I did is place this gearbox in, obviously so it's this line comes as close as possible, making sure the dowels go in place. And then I used some bolts, so we've got one in the back here, 2, 3, 4, and then one on the back here at 5. So that's the bolts, and then they're all that size, and they've got a shank on the end, and they're 17mm. So just do them all up, do them up snug first, and then do them up tight. So just go around, make sure they're all tight. You don't just go mental on them, but I'll find a torque spec on them, but really as long as they're tight, you'll be laughing. Then we've got the starter motor, and I can just place it in here. One's a short bolt, goes up to there, as so, and one's a longer one, so that shoots the right way through here. I'm just going to put it up. Tie that up there. One thing that's we're omitting at the moment is down here. If you look, there's a cover plate. I don't have one of those yet, but I'm going to fit the engine and do that from below. Ideally you would do that now, but I just don't have it and I want to get the engine in today. So yeah, then this is just a 14mm, doing up the starter motor. Again, you don't have to go ridiculously tight. Okay, that's it, and then we can start connecting a couple of things up, just so we don't forget later. So we have this is the reverse sensor, so could run it like that so it doesn't get involved in everything. And then we have different things for the starter motor, so I'll connect that when it's in the car because it's that's how I've got it. So then we leave for the moment the engine mount that goes here off the car, and we're ready pretty much to drop the whole thing in the engine bay, which is exciting.